Hey everybody, it's time once again for the weekly Rahdo recap, and hello everyone. I've got a change of scenery this week. We are at Vanderbilt Pond, just outside of Beatty, Nevada, and it is freezing. And this is going to be a tough adjustment after spending almost half a year south of the border. But Jen and I are definitely on the way home now. Originally we were planning on swinging through Utah and hitting some more national parks, but as we get closer, Jen feels the pull, so we are calling an audible and heading north. That means this is probably going to be the last video that I record on the road. Next Sunday, I'm going to be back in my nice warm studio with all my stuff set up and telling you about everything that happened in the world of board games over the last week. But that's next week. Right now, I want to get back inside. We've got the heater turned on. It is so cold out here. And that's a good thing because this is going to be a quick one. I'm going to do three things, as always, in the recap show, folks. I'm going to tell you about new videos that went up on my channel. I'm going to tell you about new videos that went up on other people's channels that I think are absolutely awesome. And well, normally I would tell you about new games that went up on Board Game Geek. But for the first time, this is the 34th episode of the Rahdo recap. This is the first time there were no new games on the Board Game Geek database that were worth talking about. I was shocked. There were a handful, but nothing that jumped out at me. So we've only got 2 topics this week. Although, folks, if you learned about any new games, definitely let everyone know about it down in the comments because I got nothing for you this week. But now, let's get to it because my hands are freezing. I should have put on some gloves. Anyway. Let's talk about stuff on the channel. First of all, we have a new exclusive as a thank you for backers of the show, either here on YouTube or over at patreon.com. It's a Rahdo release. It's Orichalcum. Now, this is a run-through I filmed last year, I think, demonstrating the solo mode for this awesome little 4X, Gateway Plus game from Pandasaurus. And the thing is, the solo mode of Orichalcum is better than the multiplayer mode. But to play it, you have to print out your own stuff, special player boards and all that, because it didn't come in the box. So this was a special run-through I did a year ago. It is now available for all backers of this show and demonstrates the best way you can play Orichalcum is by yourself. And so hopefully everybody enjoys that. And the reason I made that the release this month for March, that all backers get to see no matter what the level is, because let's talk about games that went up on the channel for everybody. Dinosaur World. I did a run through for that at long last. I've had it on my shelf for like almost 2 years. And it is a very, very cool, Jurassic Park, Euro-style simulator, the third in the dinosaur series from, is it from Pandasaurus again? Oh my gosh. Or am I right? Is Orichalcum from Pandasaurus? I might have been wrong about that. Where is Paula when you need him? But anyway, Dinosaur World is, like Orichalcum, much better as a solo game than it is as a multiplayer game, because the solo mode, which you have to print out your own stuff, which I did on the road in that RV with our color printer, the special board you print out and the extra cards that you have to cut up, make Dinosaur World, take it from a very, very good Euro with a little bit too much AP and maybe not as much excitement as it could have, to an amazing Euro as a solo game. So this week, it is for solo fans because I converted Orichalcum into an amazing solo game and Dinosaur World into a solo game, and you folks can check it out. Next up, Maggie of Amy and Maggie did an amazing run-through for Imperium Horizon. I think it's the longest run-through that has ever appeared on the channel because she played a 2-player game of Imperium Horizon all the way through from start to finish. It was an amazing feat. I am so impressed by what she was able to do. And she showed off everything. It is probably the definitive Imperium Horizons video you can find out there, and it's much better than I would have done, quite frankly. She so knocked it out of the park, fast becoming the true MVP of the channel. Maggie did an amazing job. I highly recommend it, folks. Let's see. Oh, and then Kimberly did a great run-through for Archaeologic. Now, this is the latest from designer Johan Levitt, who everybody was cuckoo crazy for Turing Machine, but I was always a fan of his older stuff like Myrmes, or his more recent stuff like Humanities, more Euro economic simulation games. Archaeologic kind of combines the two sides of Johan and makes a more Euro-y style economic simulation that also has a huge focus on deduction. So it's a really unique game, and Kimberly did a great job showing why. Man, everybody, it was all hands on deck this week because Shay has a preview up for Galactic Cruise. And now, honestly, folks, this is one I wanted to cover myself. I just couldn't get my hands on it in Mexico. Plus, it was going to be too big to play on the dinette in the RV back there anyway. So Shay was able to step up to the plate and oh man, I can't wait to play this myself. This could have been a game designed by Vita Lizardi. It's so big, it's so rich, it's so crunchy, it's so complex, and yet its core is so simple and clean and elegant, like a good Lizardi game. I mean, it's doing gangbusters. It's only been on for a few days and it's raised $500,000 on Kickstarter already. And Shay will show you why everybody is so crazy for Galactic Cruise. You can check that link in the show notes. Everything I'm talking about today, folks, there's links for it down in the show notes, or you can wait for the playlist at the end of the video. Let's see. Back to me. Rahdo does appear on his channel. I put up a Raptor review for Age of Civilization. And folks, oh my gosh, one of the best games of 2019, the greatest year on record for all of board gaming. And it's in my top 10 retroactively because I only recently discovered it from designer Jeffrey CCH. And man, folks, this has got to be one of the best Civilization games ever. Just a tiny little game in a tiny little box that captures all the feel of a great Civ game with so much replayability, so many cool extra modules you can turn on and off. I mean, you've got to watch this designer, Jeffrey CCH. I don't know what the CCH stands for, but between Age of Civilization, Jen and I just played Inheritors at the Dice Tower West convention 2 days ago. Inheritors, watch for that game, folks. It's fantastic. I might be running through it when I get home. Who knows? He's got another game coming, Epoch. That looks really, really cool. This Jeffrey CCH guy is definitely one to watch. And if you want to know why, go watch my Raptor review. It's only a few minutes long of Age of Civilization. And because I'm so excited about that, I just bought a copy of Age of Galaxy. It'll be waiting for me when I get home. Oh, one more thing that went up on the channel, the 25th Rahdo Q&A. A bunch of great questions, as always. This time, really kind of a lot of it focused on behind the scenes stuff, both here on the channel, having all the contributors on, trying to identify what is it that my audience actually wants. Why are, not just me, but other big board game channels maybe starting to see drop-offs in some of their viewership, stuff like that. A fun Q&A as always. And that's it, folks. That's what went up on the channel. It was a very, very good week. But now let's talk about 4 other videos that appeared on other people's channels that I think are worth your time. First of all, we're not done talking about Kimberly. She has her own channel, Tabletop Tolson, and she did a preview, I should say, for Gun It. And folks, I'm calling this out, both because Kimberly, as always, did a fantastic job. It's not a full run-through, but she does a lot of demo elements of her little, presentation. So you get a good sense for what this cooperative, what'd you call it, a programming limited communication game is that recreates a great, car chase scene from an action movie where there's cars all around you and they're all shooting at you and you're shooting back at them and cars are blowing up and exploding and crashing into each other. It's an incredibly thematic experience. And Kimberly does a great job, kind of diving into all the stuff that really makes it feel like you're playing a great sequence, the highway scene from Matrix 2, or, Matrix Revolutions. Everybody agrees the best part of Matrix Revolutions, or the second Matrix, whichever one it is. Anyway, I can personally vouch that it's an amazing game because I got to play it at DicetowerWest.com. It was one of the coolest things I played, and I gotta say, I was smiling from ear to ear the entire time. All these just incredible, cool cinematic moments. At one moment, I pulled myself out of the car, got on the roof, jumped to another car, sprayed my Uzi to blow up a couple other cars, jumped back just in time for Jen to wrench the steering wheel off to the right to get us out of the way of an oncoming explosion. And that kind of stuff is just normal. That kind of stuff happens all the time. It's absolutely incredible. And I got to say, folks, the designer, Randy O'Connor, another one to watch for. I think this is going to be his first game. And this game is launching this week, I think on Tuesday. this coming Tuesday. Definitely watch for it. Go watch Kimberly's video to see why, because I mean, Randy, like me, is a former video game designer, like Danny Garcia. And folks, video game developers, we're coming for you, board game industry. More and more of them. Everybody knows Eric Lang was a video game designer in a previous life, right? I don't know if it's just a coincidence that we've got all these great games coming from video game designers. Anyway, though, so that was very, very cool. Again, Kimberly did an amazing job. Marco Omnigamer, what's his last name? Marco Arenado, I think? I just know him as Marco. Marco is an OG. If you've never seen his channel before, he's been covering games, gosh, almost as long as me, maybe even longer. He's a professor, he just does it for fun, and he is always covering games that you often won't see much coverage of elsewhere. And he put up a video for a game I totally missed a couple of years ago when it first became available, Divide et Impera, or DEI. And I had ignored this a couple of years ago when it first came out because I just took a quick look at screenshots and looked, oh, this is a dudes battling on a map war game kind of thing, set in a kind of post-apocalyptic frozen world, scrabbling over resources kind of thing. And I thought, oh, it looks nice, got nice components, but I don't care about that. That's not for me. But I watched Marco's video anyway. I'm so glad I did because I totally misunderstood what DEI is about. Yes, there can be some direct, I can have my troops take out your troops, but as Marco repeats several times in the video, don't do it. It's incredibly wasteful. There are always better things you can do. At its heart, this is a very clever deck building game where you're sacrificing cards from your deck to get other cards. So every time you bring a new card in, you're saying goodbye to an old card. Oh, Jen is out walking the dogs as we speak. We got to get ready to go, folks, because we got to head north quick. As cold as it is here, we're trying to avoid a cold front coming in that's going to be snowstormy and all that. So we got to hit the road fast. Right, what was I talking about? Oh, DEI. So Marco pointed out, yeah, you could attack, but you'll never do it because it's so cost inefficient. Plus, it actually can help your opponent who you hit just spend all these resources to take one of their units out, and then they get bonuses. You'll never do it. Instead, it's kind of an area majority where you're just moving your troops around. Oh, I really need to get into that area. You got 2, I'll move 3 in so I can get that stuff, and we're not going to fight at all. We're just going to do a lot of really cool maneuvering around this very, very cool board. Oh my gosh. These days, one of the hottest things in board gaming is dual layer boards, right? And everybody's using them to make like little grooves in the board that will hold your cubes and your pieces without shaking around. And that's very, very cool. Love dual layer boards, but this game goes the opposite way. It makes dual layer boards to turn what would be a 2-dimensional game into a 3-dimensional game, because the second layer of the board become like these outcroppings that players can like build bridges between and have multiple layers as they move their troops around. Oh my gosh, this game is so cool. How did I miss it? Marco, thank you so much for making me aware of just how cool it is. And folks, you can find out too. Again, you can check out the links in the show notes or wait to the playlist. I would suggest, though, avoiding the comments on that one because there's some trolls showing up. Hopefully Marco will clean that up. But regardless, anyway, the game looks great. What's the next one? Okay, Rolling for Two. This is a very nice, wonderful channel by Sarah and Will Reed, who are game designers. I have covered 2 of their games in the past, Project Dreamscape and Oaxaca, both excellent games, but I haven't seen any new designs from them for a while. They've really been focusing on covering other games, and their Rolling with Two channel, it has 2 focuses. 2-player gaming, which is great, and they really dive deep. They actually, for every game they cover, they have 2 videos. Hey, here's us just covering the video, and then now let's have a separate video where we dive deep on all the 2-player tweaks and changes to make sure, and does it work as a 2-player game? Obviously, I appreciate that very much. I think it's great. They also really focus on making accessibility, because if I recall correctly, I believe Will is blind or partially blind, so it's a big deal for them. And so they really drill down like a laser on color blindness issues and contrast and all of that. And you can see all of this in their video. Did I mention? They put up a video for Shelfie Stacker. And I have to admit, this is a game I missed, but I was really interested in it because it's got a really neat gimmick of rolling dice that represents board games that you're trying to stack into your shelf. Literally an IKEA Kallax shelf. I mean, they don't call it that, but they might as well. And it's a dice drafting game that represents trying to fit all your games on the shelves efficiently. obviously, that's something that speaks to a lot of us. So I was really interested in the subject matter, and Sarah and Will, they do a great job showing what's good about the game and what's bad. Another thing that some people might really appreciate about their channel, oh man, they can be very critical. As, you know, professional designers, of course they are. They've gone through it themselves, so they've got a really great critical eye with a really unique focus that I think a lot more people should be aware of. So check out Rolling for Two, links down in the show notes. Okay, last one. Oh my gosh, folks. Board game reviews, although it's spelled R-E-V-Y-O-U-S, reviews, board game reviews. This is a channel I discovered recently. And this one's just weird. Let me first of all warn you, this is not a family-friendly channel. This is kind of, what would it be like if we had a YouTube channel that was run by Nathan Fielder or Red Letter Media? It's that kind of a thing because, oh yeah, essentially he's here talking about games, but no, not really. The channel started out just a few months ago as kind of a Dragon's Tomb style thing where he was doing parodies of reviews of you know, games. He would review a game, but, you know, get all the rules wrong, or, you know, come up with his own rules, but describe them. It started out that way, but it very quickly evolved into something else, because the show is more about this ongoing story of this guy who is incredibly down on his luck, you know, and, you know, played very surreal, very absurd, surreal humor. I mean, the closest thing I can think of it is Nathan Fielder, you know, Nathan for You, or Red Letter Media. You know, remember, hey, let's talk about Star Wars, but let's have a subplot about a serial killer in the basement and stuff like that. That's what this channel is. So I warn you, it is not for everybody. It is a mature channel. You know, there's language, there is some graphic content. So know that going in. But it's also frickin' brilliant. And the reason I mention it is because this week, his most recent video, he did Lisboa run through with my mum. Did I mention he's Australian, by the way? So it's an Australian Nathan Fielder or Red Letter Media. Anyway, he has done a few, so many, you know, he's done a bunch of different videos. This one is kind of doing my thing. He even refers to me, oh, I'm doing a Rahdo runs through style video with his mother. All of his videos are less than 5 minutes. Folks, I would not suggest actually jumping right to this one, although if you only just want to see that, you could. I would actually go back 3 months, and if you're interested, watch his entire series, because there is a story being told and new chapters of his personal life as things go from bad to worse are, you know, constantly being revealed. It's fascinating. There is nothing else like this on all of Board Game Media. So rather than following the links to the video, you might want to follow the link down in the show notes to his channel and, you know, go to videos and start from the beginning. The first few, like I said, are pretty straightforward, but things just go off the rails in the most far out way. You know, right before he did mine, he did a you know, a kind of a parody spoof on board games in about 3 minutes, and you know, and so now he's kind of spoofing me. He's spoofing all kinds. His top 10 is unlike anything you've ever seen before. He did an unboxing, which again, there should be a content warning on that unboxing. But if you're looking for surreal, absurdist humor, unlike anything else, you might want to check out, what's his name? Matt. Matt is his name, but Board Game Reviews, spelled R-E-V-Y-O-U-S. And that's it, folks, because like I said, this week, I've got no new games to talk about. Please, if you know of any that I've never talked about before, mention them down in the comments, because I'm letting everybody down. Hopefully, there'll be some new stuff in the Board Game Geek database next week. But that's it, folks. I am still freezing. The hand, can I show you? The hand on my selfie stick, this hand is a claw now. I can't feel anything, so I got to get back inside, and we got to hit the road before the weather hits us. So there's the playlist for everything I just talked about. You know what to do, folks, because I got to go. I got to go. In fact, how have I walked so far away? Oh, man. We gotta get the blocks up, we gotta hit Z Road, and there's no time. So I imagine this video is gonna end at any second now.